Okay, let's welcome our audience. Welcome to the Ready, Set, Gemini podcast. I am your host, Dan Mora, and directly across from me.
Hey, everybody. It's Frank Smithson over here.
Right on. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Dan.
We have this is a good one. We're going to talk about reporting bias. Industry, there's a few year-end reports that have come out that are what I would call industry red flags. But I really feel that it's a little unfortunate because it's biased, that these reports, and they're from a particular perspective.
Yeah. When is it not biased when it comes from their particular perspective?
Mm-hmm. Two reports of consequence. There was the WCRB report that came out a couple weeks ago, a December report. And this is the year end. And then there was a draft report that came out, it must have been last week, from Cheswick, the Commission on Health and Safety and Workers' Compensation, a draft of their annual report. What I think we need to do here is just call it out. I feel that these reports are attacking a couple of areas that injured workers depend on. Mm-hmm. Will they attack it fairly? Will the results of these attacks per se, or these changes, come out fair?
Answer to number one, no. Answer to number two, I don't know. I feel like there's a swing going the other direction. And can the applicant side of the world come together and get the information to tell the whole picture? So what's going on? To me, the defense, they really have a focus on money. They're like myopic in that sense.
These reports.
Yeah, and then they create these like correlations with what they think is going on in the world, but there's just so much that they're missing, mm-hmm. and they're not seeking to understand. So, okay, I'm being absolutist. That's like a Frank thing, so those viewers get used to it. But you get what I'm saying. Like, they're making these correlations around the dollars, but we know, like for SIBTF, for example, mm-hmm. that there's been a lot of changes that have gone on in the industry that are direct causation, like the amount of people practicing SIBTF.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the report is pointing at the growth of SIBTF, the cost of mm-hmm. the growth of the benefit of subsequent injury, of the subsequent injury benefit trust fund, the costs of that system, the administrative costs, and then the payout costs are bad, is what these reports are basically pointing to.
Sure.
And my question is, or my assumption and my observation is that the utilization of this benefit was hugely underutilized for so many years, right? This benefit was put into law, and I'm going to get it wrong, but 40 plus years ago when this benefit actually became law.
Post Vietnam, right?
And then you look at, and then I remember I've been in the industry long enough to know that there's a few champions of the subsequent injury benefit trust fund that have been pounding the table for years, saying this is underutilized, this is underutilized, mm-hmm. this is underutilized. Art Johnson comes to mind.
Of course.
Smart, really well-respected attorney in our industry that has been telling all of the applicant attorneys that, hey, you guys are missing the boat on this. This is an important benefit for injured workers, and it can help you from an income perspective.
That's how Gemini got involved in this whole thing and decided mm-hmm. to say, hey, where can we help, encourage the participation in SIBTF, and also where can we help, provide whatever is necessary to maximize those outcomes.
Yeah, and I forget the year, but I believe it was 17 or 18 where
probably fair.
We republished a SIBTF for dummies from a prominent attorney down in the San Jose area, and that it took a life of its own. We decided we would start to work with attorneys, specifically attorneys and the doctors that are working to help the attorneys get these benefits worked up, these benefit packages worked up. And it caught on like fire.
And there was a lot of learning that came on our part too, to make sure, like, are we ordering the right records, and what do the doctors really need, and how timelines and all these different types of things to get stuff situated. And I think what we've experienced over time is that the people that first start doing these things, they got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And I feel like now it's really entrenched into the industry. And it's not just Gemini. Gemini started this thing, but every single copy service has since followed suit. And now they're all doing the same type of participation, which has allowed for injured workers to collect on this benefit.
Yeah, but these reports aren't talking about the benefit to injured workers.
No, they're not. How
has SIBTF affected the general the injured
health,
workers,
the well-being of injured workers?
Has their life been improved because of this? What is their posture to poverty? Because admitted, I mean, it's pretty known that when you have to go through a workers' compensation, you're a field worker making minimum wage, or you're a manufacturing operation, and you're earning minimal, and then you're trying to support a family. You have a work injury that is life changing.
Definitely.
So, and then the benefits are designed not to completely replace their income, and they're not designed to do that. And all the benefits, getting these folks whole is really difficult. This is just one piece. The SIBTF is one piece.
Yep.
So
what they do is they look at the numbers. When I say they, that's the defense. And I'd love if there's anyone out there in the defense hearing this saying, hey, we need to look at the other side. I think it goes both ways. I think it would be better for us to understand as deep as possible on what's going on in the defense, and same thing, vice versa. More understanding allows for more collaboration, right? So it says total SIBTF claims costs of $196 million were up 61% compared to the $121.5 million paid in the fiscal year ending 2021. And so they're making these some correlations between not specific, cumulative injuries, and what was the other thing that they were doing? Let's see here.
Vouchers, the return to work supplement program. But yeah, all these things are being pointed to as part of what has increased the cost to the industry, which is the basic sum of what they're communicating, that the cost of the system keeps increasing.
They're saying that the claims themselves, the value has been going up as well. And they're sort of trying to create these correlations with the injured workers, but think about the actual industry who is just now getting mature on being able to conduct these things properly.
Right.
So of course the value is going to go up. If you're a brand new attorney, you just got into work comp and you did your first SIBTF case, do you think it's going to pay out as much as one that you've got 5 years of experience underneath your belt?
Definitely.
So I think there's been a growing trend that way in the maturity of the industry that this report doesn't look at all.
The focus on CT is interesting too. I mean, it dovetails, and they're not talking about they're not talking again about the effect on injured workers. But I think it's important too to point out like how this operates. There is this cycle of understanding and application, and we have the cycle of CT understanding, or how to get more benefits to the injured workers. That's the job of the applicant attorneys, is how to maximize the case. They have actually a ethical obligation to do that. So of course they're gonna use these post termination CT claims and the usage of them, again, the cycle of understanding and then the application, the reports are pointing to, for example, that there's a disproportionate percentage of post-termination CT claims in the Los Angeles basin. Well, think about it in terms of learning and understanding, and the peer learning and peer understanding. Is it exploitative? Or is it entrepreneurial? You know what I mean?
They're trying to find causations wherever they can. Is it that we have a 10% inflation and people now, it would have rather have not gone through the work comp system or have hit like a precipice and they got to find a way, they got an injury maybe before they would have worked through it, which I wouldn't say is a good thing. But now there's, other outlying factors that could impact all of this is all I'm getting at. And they're very myopic on the money. It'd be interesting to see, how this, okay, let's talk about reports. So they're going to be conducting a study through the RAND Corporation, specifically on SIBTF, and that's going to be released in 2024 is what they're suggesting. So I'm just thinking the defense, who's got loads of money, right? Like it's not like the applicant side of thing. It's like David and Goliath is what it's always felt like. And so you got Goliath coming at you with all this cash, putting this report out that does appear with this is a Work Comp Central article, by the way. It was released on December 15th. It would appear it's very, biased and focused on the cash and loose causation. If there's not someone else to counter those arguments, like what's going to happen?
It'll get rubber stamped. It'll just get rubber stamped.
I mean, is it something that is there a risk of SIBTF going away?
100%.
I mean, when we talk about the spirit of the law, it was really designed to help veterans that were coming out of war and lost an arm, right? Who then go to work with their other good hand and then they lose a hand. And now it's like, oh, well, you only lost a hand. That's this percentage. Well, right. Hold on. SIBTF says, let me look at the pre-industrial injury, and now let's look at the cumulative effect of what that's actually going to have on your life, and let's compensate you accordingly. Vietnam's no longer around. That spirit of the law lasted for who knows how long with very minimal touch. Yeah. We said Art Johnson was like one of the few people that were even doing it. So there was I don't know how long that gap is, 20 years, 30 years, where no one was really into it. And then people became aware of it, and they're using it for an altruistic purpose of helping people. But is the spirit of the law still the same? Seems like it has morphed a little bit. Change is normal.
It'll get debated. It will get debated, and I just hope and pray that there's equal representation. I mean, one thing that is, I think, a light on this is that there's a supermajority at the state level elected officials, which leans heavily to labor. And a question that I would ask the California Labor Fed and the labor commissioners is, are you also listening to the non-union represented workforce? Yeah. And because that's I think has the potential to lose its voice. And I don't know. We got to hope, and we got to, I think what we're doing here is just raising awareness so that people can.
It's like a call to action. The people that are in and around SIBTF, I think they need to pay attention to this. And
all of the topics, SIBTF, the post-term continuous trauma claims. Then they're also talking about vouchers, which, they're talking about, again, the inflation of voucher benefits paid. And there's another example of underutilized benefit that, again, it takes some time for understanding and then application, and we've witnessed this firsthand.
Yeah, we started doing it a couple years ago, and it's definitely taken off. And it's a great system. It's great.
It needs to, right? Yeah. It's intended for its use.
If anything, vouchers needs to have more focus, more energy put on it. If you can get someone that's been significantly injured and get them back into the workforce, being productive members of society, why wouldn't you pay a little bit of cash to do
This
that?
cost is looked at as a negative, and it probably should be celebrated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a great thing that we're getting more people educated for retraining.
It's like, can we just get a like repeating like video of Fight Club and the insurance companies? Because every time we talk about insurance companies, it's all that comes to mind. It's like
Cost.
What makes more sense? People's livelihoods or
Shareholder.
or money?
Yeah. Or
You know?
shareholder payouts. It's supposed to be balanced. I hope that everybody's listening so that we can try to bring some balance back into the system, you know?
Yeah, I'd love to hear perspectives from both sides.
Yeah.
I'm biased myself, going to admit it. I'm on the applicant side of things. I don't understand the defense enough. It'd be great to understand more from where they're coming from. But when they write documentation like this, it just feels very one-sided.
Yeah. Well, let's ask our audience. Likes, comments, subscribes. Please get involved. We're excited to hear from you. And yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
All right, Frank. Take care.
Take care.